Can you hear that? If you listen closely, you should be able to hear some chirping in the background because it appears I have a family of birds on my roof continually making chirping noises all day long. It's not something I've encountered a lot, but it's quite difficult to address. I had this problem today. I recorded a video for my other YouTube channel and these bird sounds are throughout that video. As a YouTuber, or as anyone who's recording audio for a video or just recording the audio, you really want to eliminate those sounds during the recording. You don't want to pick them up at all. And you can do that by spending a lot of money, soundproofing your room, putting in triple glazing. But for most people, it isn't practical to do that because you're recording in your bedroom or your office or an environment where you don't really want to change the room too much. Now you can introduce audio hardware as well, and you can spend a couple of hundred to a couple of thousand if you want to compress the audio and remove background noise. But I think the most practical way for most YouTubers to address any kind of audio situation like that is to apply a filter. And that's what I'd like to do in this video. I'd like to show you how you can apply filters in OBS. This is an introduction video, but it's something which I think a lot of you will find useful. If I just do this for a second, in fact, I'll show you my monitor. So you're going to see this, going into the background here because I'm showing you my screen. But right now you can see I've got mic and then I've got mic with filter. So listen to the difference here. So now you're listening to the mic with filter. It really should be called mic with filters because I've got a few different filters applied there. And what I've done is apply a few filters to help remove background noise. And it does help. It does help me remove audio from lawnmowers, from people outside working in their garden, and just general background noise that I don't want to be included in videos. It's not perfect though, and you do kind of have to tweak the settings a little bit, but it is something which I think anyone who's recording through OBS or Streamlabs, etc. will find useful. Applying a filter is very, very straightforward. If I go back to my original one, you can see there that this one, the one just default mic, this one doesn't have any filters, but all you do is you go there and you can see compressor, expander, gain, invert polarity, limiter, noise gate, noise suppression, VST2X plugin, which refers to the Virtual Studio Technology plugins. Really third-party audio plugins, essentially, other software that you can plug into OBS. And for each of these, there'll be a range of different settings there. For the compressor, you have to set the compression ratio, how much the audio is compressed, and then the threshold and the attack level. I don't want to bore with you too much for the details for each of these because I think you're better exploring all of these yourself. But I will quickly show you that the microphone that I'm using just now, I've applied a noise gate, I've applied noise suppression, and I've applied a compressor. You can see the noise gate there as well. It opens up at 60 decibels and it closes at 60 decibels, and opens up at 42 decibels. And effectively what I'm doing is cutting out the lower sounds so that it doesn't pick up all the background noise, reducing the gate, as it's called. And then you've got the noise suppression, which will eliminate all the background noise below 30 decibels. And then you've got compressor, which will squish in the audio image, the audio wave, so that the lower sounds are higher. So I don't want to bore with you too much, but just to show you, that's how you apply it. You click on the cog of your audio and you go to filters, and then you can add and remove filters very, very easily. You saw that there. It's as simple as clicking add. I can add some gain. Don't like it, take it away. That's it. Very, very straightforward. But look, what I'd like to do just now is go over to the official OBS website and just kind of break down what all of those filters are. And I do stress, I don't consider myself an expert on this. I've been using filters on and off for a couple of years, and I'm always kind of tweaking things, listening back to audio and then thinking, oh, maybe I should tweak that, maybe I should change that setting. There are some good tutorials out there though, so if you look at a particular filter and you think that doesn't sound right, go out and look at some video tutorials, because I will say this right off the bat, my settings will not be right for you and your settings will not be right for me. It depends on the recording environment. It depends on what you're recording. It depends on the microphone that you're using. The settings I've got for this shotgun mic will be different to this microphone that I have in the background. you have to change the settings for every situation. So look at these video tutorials and look at example settings as a guide, and then take it from there and change things. So let's run down some of the filters that are available on OBS, and this is on the official OBS website. It's got scene and image filters, but I want to focus on audio ones. So the first one here is compressor, and this is one where I think a lot of people will find it very useful, but it's maybe the hardest to explain as well. But essentially what it's doing is taking the audio wave and kind of squeezing it down a little bit, so the wave isn't going up and down as much. It's more compressed, hence the word compressor. Now you can buy audio hardware compressors, for a few $100, but it is easy to just hit the compressor filter button and it does it for you. It's maybe not 100% the same, but some software is really, it's getting a lot better now than it was years ago. Now, what this will essentially do is increase the volume of the lower sounds. So it's going to stop you going really quiet and then going really high. It's going to compress that audio. And this is used in so many different situations. Podcasters use it as well, so that if one person speaking, they're speaking softly, it will raise the volume of their audio. And I'll just read through this as well. Compressor is very useful if your source, typically a microphone, is set for a normal level, but can sometimes spike much louder, such as impromptu shouting. It will automatically lower the source's volume to reduce the likelihood of peaking above 0 decibels, causing clipping. So it can help with clipping, but it says here, a compressor makes loud sounds quieter and typically would be placed at or near the beginning of your filter chain. So with the filter chain, what it's referring to, if I go back to this, what it's referring to is the fact that my filter chain is here. What I should maybe do is move this up. So I can put it there. And I've now put it at the top of the chain. I need to experiment with that as far as what the best order is, but that's what that part of the website was referring to. So essentially what you want to do with the compressor is bring down your sound wave, and it's to make sure that you're not spiking low to high, so that anyone who's watching your video, anyone who's listening to your audio, won't have to constantly change the volume level, that you'll have some sort of consistency with your volume. It's one of the best ones. You really do have to spend a little time tweaking this though, because you've got the compression ratio, and if you put the ratio too high, like 10:1 or 20:1, your sound, your vocals can be distorted. Really, they can be very distorted when you're listening to it. So you might want to start off with like 2:1 or 3:1, and it'll just reduce the higher sounds by a ratio of 2:1, and it will attack it. You can see here how quickly in milliseconds it will compress it. I don't want to bore you with too many details with that. I've read some tutorials on it, and I do have a good understanding of it. But at the same time, I think it's quite a hard thing to understand and a hard thing to explain. I look at this as a very simple way, is that it's compressing my sound, it's stopping clipping, and it's making sure that when I speak softly, the volume is raised. So the other option there as well, sidechain compression ducking, can be used to make room for your voice when speaking over the top of music. So this is a feature I don't use. I don't play music through my videos, so it's not something I've really explored, but it is there. Then you've got expander, and expander kind of works in reverse. It can be used to reduce background noise, such as computer fans. It reduces the audio level by applying a gain reduction. So say, for example, I had an air conditioner in this room and it was constantly buzzing at 30 decibels. That could take that noise and then reduce it by 25 decibels. So it's still there, but it's greatly reduced. So expander is not something I need in my environment, because there is background noise outside, but it's not something that I feel I need at the moment. And that's the thing, there's a lot of different filters here, but you really do need to choose which one is applicable to you in your situation. I'll be tweaking things again, no doubt about it. So then you've got gain, fairly self-explanatory there. You can apply a gain level. And I can show you this right now, actually. Let's show you this, and I'll show you this in practice, how simple it can be. So if I take the other microphone, hopefully you won't hear me in stereo too much. I'm going to add gain. And I'll just add, what will I add? I'm going to add, say, 5. Quite a lot to add 5. Now this is the same microphone, but now I'm talking. See how the gain level's higher here? It's higher down this bottom one. That's because I've applied that gain. I've applied the gain filter. And I think it's normally better, most situations, it would be better to apply gain through your hardware, through your audio device, your audio interface, or through your computer. But that can be useful in certain situations where you want to raise the gain level. So it's there if you want it. Invert polarity is not something I would use, but it says it corrects phase cancellation issues. Then you've got a limiter. It says it's used to prevent an audio signal from peaking above 0 decibels. Peaking is one of the biggest problems in recording audio, where you basically hit the ceiling of recording audio, and instead of going up and down, it might hit there and then go across. It gives you this weird distorted sound when you do peak, and there's not really much you can do with it when you record audio, which has not been limited. So I've found that with the compressor and with the way that I've set my audio levels on my audio interface, I don't need to apply a limiter, but it is something that you might want to consider so that you never peak. Now it says here it should be the last filter in your chain. So again, it refers to that chain where it's saying, do the compressor first, then the suppression, then do this, then do that. It's saying that you should put the limiter at the end, but really it's about stopping you clipping. I don't feel I need it just now. I've set my levels up correctly, so it doesn't happen, but it is there. So there's noise gate. That is something I do use. It says it allows you to cut off all background noise when you're not talking. Select a close threshold above the noise volume and an open threshold below your voice input to get good results, right? So this is something I have been using a lot, something that's useful, and it's something that you'll find in audio hardware devices as well, with channel strips and things like that. But this is something that I either need to tweak it or I need to remove it from my recordings. The reason being that the noise gate, if you're too aggressive with it, it can be very strange. And I've recorded videos where the audio looked really bizarre because when I stop talking, it goes from me talking to complete silence, like absolute silence, and then I start talking again. And it's like this on, off that you get with the noise gate. And if you don't set it correctly, and I'm not even sure if I've set this correctly because I've been messing about with this today, so I've maybe changed the settings to make it too aggressive. But if you're too aggressive with the noise gate, you've basically got this on-off effect with the audio where it only pops on when you're speaking, and then when it's off, you don't hear anything. And you kind of sound robotic when you do it like that. So the noise gate feature, I believe, is a great feature. It's a great filter. It's something you should explore. Just be very conscious of the fact that if you're aggressive with it, it can really mess up your audio. So you need to tweak it. You need to do some test recordings and play around with it. Noise suppression, again, you saw that I was using it there. It's to remove mild background noises. And that's really useful for me. This is something I normally apply because I've got the PC buzzing down there and the fans are spinning, and it's not a loud noise, but it's certainly something you'll hear in the background if I don't apply this filter. So that's useful. It's probably one of the most useful ones to know about, to use if you're recording via OBS, because most of us have got some sort of noise in the background. It's, it's a fridge, it's your PC, or your laptop operating in the background and the GPU fans are going. Any kind of background noise that you want to eliminate, yeah, that's where you want to go. So very, very useful filter. But with all of these filters, you do need to tweak them. And I've messed up some videos, I really have, where I've been too aggressive with some of these filters. And it's one of those things, you do need to try and find the sweet spot. And I've not found it yet. I'll be honest, I'm still tweaking this. And every time I record, I'm like, yeah, I need to tweak that down. That's a little bit too aggressive. That one needs to go up. The last option here is Vst Plugin. And there's a few different options out there. Well, there's more than a few. There's hundreds. And there's like Reaper, for example. That's a popular option where instead of using the built-in compressor and audio functionality available in OBS, you can use third-party software and then just plug it in, as the name suggests, plug it into OBS. And generally, if you use a Vst plugin, I would say that generally you've got more options. Generally, the sound will be better, but it also is not as simple to use as the built-in OBS filters. And that's one of the best things about the OBS filters, is that They're so easy to use. You just click, add filter, add it, set your level, boom, and that's it, you're done. But I do want to explore VST plugins. I do want to see what other options are out there. In fact, you can see it there, Reaper. Reaper is one of the ones I'll probably explore first. This is a popular option. And you can see here, even just from the image here, you can see all the different options that you've got there, attack and release. And you will be familiar with these if you've messed about with the OBS filters. This is what I need to really, kind of delve deep into. But it's also something that I'm kind of reluctant to go too far into, because one of the things that I like about OBS, and one of the things I like about my whole setup, is simplicity. I do understand that I need a basic understanding of all of this, the recording, setup, the audio levels and all that. And it is good to have a good understanding of that. But I don't want to overcomplicate things either, and I don't want to spend all my time tweaking things. And that's what I like about the OBS filters. The OBS filters, they're very, very simple to use. And I'll just revisit this again just to show you. You can see here, I'll get it all in the screen there. You can see I'm on my gaming monitor, which is what I'm looking at right now. It's underneath the camera. And I've got the mic with filter. And right now I've got noise suppression. I've got the compressor. But if I put gain, I can put it up and I'll go higher. Look at that. The volume is going to go a lot higher. But it's important to realize, again, this is another thing to note, is that I've applied a gain filter, but I've also got that compressor there as well. And I could also apply a limiter. So let's put in a limiter and let's set it minus 5 decibels. And so I've raised the gain level, but you can see now, if you look down here at the kind of red level, I can't get to above minus 5 decibels now because the threshold has been set at 5 decibels. So it's kind of limiting what the gain is actually doing, because I could set this up high, 21 decibels, but I still can't go above minus 5. And I can make that more aggressive. I can, set that down even lower, and you can see the red level going down. Essentially, I've moved the top of my audio level from 0 decibels down to like minus 6, down to minus 7.5 right now. So again, all of the filters work, well, they should work in theory in harmony. And that's what you need to do. That is, like, none of these are working in isolation. All of these contribute to how your sound, oops. I just went super loud there, I apologize, but that's a good example. Because of the limiter being removed there, the gain level went super high. So yeah, all of these filters have to work in harmony. And you saw that there, when I removed that limiter, that gain level went through the roof because I'd set it to plus 20. So you really want all your filters to work together. You want them all to complement each other and not mess each other up. This is something I still need to work on though. I'm always looking to improve my audio, whether it's buying a new microphone or a new audio interface or new equipment. But I do like simplicity, and I do like OBS plugins. And I do like, OBS filters and plugins as well. I'll leave a link to this page, guys. Check it out. There's a lot of great video tutorials out there. There's a lot of great explanations as to how OBS filters work. But I would say that this is the best starting point. Read this page, try each of these, and just look through what exactly each of these do, and just apply it to your videos. Mess around with the settings and just see what happens. I think for many of you watching this video, this will improve your audio, whether it be increase your gain level, stop you from peaking, improve the background noise situation. Maybe you want to eliminate some background noise, but I'm sure that if you start applying some of these filters to your recordings through OBS or Streamlabs, your recorded videos and your live streams will sound better. Thanks for watching, guys. I can cover this subject again in the future, but really this video was just about birds chirping and how you can address noise and kind of background noise problems like that through OBS. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please do check out that page that I will link below. But until then, thanks for watching and take care.